Welcome to Living the Empowered Life podcast. I'm Tamiko Pugh, also known as the Empowering Diva. Each week, you'll hear inspirational interviews as well as actionable tips and strategies that you can implement into your daily life to help you live a life of passion, purpose, and potential. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump into today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. This week's episode is sponsored by Living the Empowered Life Academy. Are you the go-to person in your group of friends? Do you have a zest for life and enjoy helping others reach their full potential? Do you feel a calling to make a difference in the world? If this is you, then you may want to consider becoming a life coach. Our next virtual online training begins March 31st, 2020. Our life coach training focuses on women who desire to motivate, inspire, and empower other women by using their skills, expertise, and experience to thrive as a personal development coach. Using the empowerment formula, participants will learn step-by-step tools, tips, and techniques needed to attract great clients and build a thriving, purposeful, and profitable coaching business. Get all the details and register at www.tamikolori.com/life coach training. Welcome to today's episode of Living the Empowered Life. I'm your host, Tamiko Pugh, affectionately called by many the Empowering Diva. In today's episode, I'll be chatting with Emmy award-winning TV show host, professional business coach and speaker, Aurea McGarry. Aurea has faced many obstacles in her life, including the murder of her father when she was just a teenager, spousal abuse, divorce, single motherhood, and cancer. But in spite of it all, she has written books and shares messages of success, hope, and faith. Aurea has been featured in over 500 radio shows worldwide and on over 150 TV shows. As a sought-after event host and speaker, she travels the country teaching her success techniques to entrepreneurs to help them live their best life, increase their sales, and to believe in their dreams. Aurea, so we have already heard your amazing bio, but what I want to do right now, I just want to share with the Living the Empowered Life community what I actually know about you. Aurea and I have known each other for quite a few years now. I think we have a lot of things in common. One being that we are both survivors of domestic violence, and I learned that word from Aurea, survivor. And as we get a little bit more into the interview, we'll have her talk about what that actually means. But we're both survivors. We both have dedicated our lives to sharing our story so that we can make a difference in the lives of others. So really being able to turn our pain into purpose. I've been an honoree at Aurea's Live Your Legacy Summit, which I'm very thankful for that. And also she has served as the mistress of ceremonies for our annual Purple Affair, which brings awareness to domestic violence. And she is not only an industry colleague, but I consider her a friend. And she is the true definition of a servant leader. And I don't think she knows this, but I've learned so much from her over the past few years, just from watching her, with her, hosting our Purple Affair, her poise, the way she does everything in excellence, and just the fact that she is a servant leader. She leads, she's a leader, but she also knows how to serve her community. So that's what I really appreciate about her. So Aurea, thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
Oh my gosh, Tamika, can I just bring you with me everywhere? What an introduction. Holy cow. I have to say right back at you. You are my inspiration, one of my heroes, because your story and what you've done to turn that around to helping and empowering other women is not what the average person does. So my hat is off to you, and I'm so excited about your podcast. Well-deserved. Congratulations for continuing to empower even more women than just your local community.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me coming from someone as amazing as you.
Well, right
But
back at you.
Aurea,
Yes, we're friends. So glad you're saying anything.
yes.
You were the only person I miss my birthday for. And I want to say I miss my birthday. I celebrate my birthday with you pretty much every year. And you're still standing because what you're doing is so important, so close to my heart. Domestic violence has to be stopped. We have to break the cycle. And I can never think of a better place to spend my birthdays than with you and your wonderful nonprofit organization.
And you know what? I appreciate you so much. So that's what I mean when I say you're a servant leader. You always want to serve. And you're right. It's always your birthday when we do the Purple Affair. And you always say to me, it's my birthday, but I'll be there. And so that's what it
Absolutely.
means to serve, when we literally take ourselves away from the situation and think about the other person, or the people that we get to minister to, or the community that we get to serve. And I think that's why you're so blessed, simply because of that.
Well, I think you and I, Tamika, we have that in common, that, I've sure thrived domestic violence and cancer. And when you come through things like that, you realize life is more than just about us. And we never know when it's going to end. And we really start thinking about, how are we making this world a better place, because we're here now today. And we really, I know I do, live in more of a sense of urgency, that I don't have time to just sit around and wait for things to happen, or somebody, to ask me to help. I really like to be proactive, because I live in a sense of urgency, that how much help and good can I do in this world before my life's over?
I love that. That's what I love. And the interesting thing is, a few years ago, your name is very fitting for the work that you do and the person that you are. I learned a few years ago how you were named in the array of sunshine. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's funny. Well, there's two things about my name. My dad was Greek, so Aurea in Greek means beautiful. So that's what it actually means. But my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, never could remember how to pronounce my name when we were dating. So he goes, I got it. It's a ray of sunshine, Aurea. And I said, okay. And that's kind of stuck.
And I love that, though, because it's even the Greek meaning of it. I mean, it fits you 100%. And I always say that
Oh, thank
there's
you.
something behind the name. There's always something behind the name. And a lot of people don't know that Tamiko means most beautiful child, one who was like
Wow.
sunshine. So we both have that little sunshine thing going on. See,
No
I
wonder
knew
we
there
can
was something else about you that I loved.
look at that. I knew we were sisters.
Yes, yes, sunshine
Like-minded people
sisters.
do attract. We could be in a crowded room and you will attract people that are like-minded. And those that are really on the same journey and mission tend to be your friends and your colleagues and your collaborators for a long term, more lifetime, not just somebody that flies in and flies out of your life.
Absolutely. And we may not talk every single day or send emails,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, we definitely love each other, and we always have each
Absolutely.
other's best interest.
Absolutely. You can call on me anytime for anything. And I'm always there for my birthday for you too, but anytime throughout the rest of the year too. And when you called on me to do this podcast, it's like, of course, yes, because we have the same audience. We have the same mission to empower and inspire women to be all that they can be today, not tomorrow or next year when the kids grow up, or when their husbands get on their feet, or they graduate from graduate school and things get all nice and pretty in a bow. It's today, right now, that women can be the best they can be, and they can live their legacy as well as helping others around them, their kids, spouses, siblings, to live theirs. Because I've noticed women, we tend to put everybody else first, and we think we'll just get around to ours later. But sometimes later is too late.
Yes, that is so true. Later is too late. And you just mentioned leaving the legacy. And so you have the Live Your Legacy Summit, which is an amazing annual event. So, how did you come up with the Live Your Legacy concept?
Well, that kind of happened by accident. I went through my cancer, which is when in 99, when they took out half of both my lungs, my thymus gland, the lining around my heart, disconnected half my diaphragm, and they removed my vocal cord nerve. And the doctors guaranteed I'd never speak above a whisper again, that it would be impossible. But we all know God loves that word impossible, because it turns around to God saying, I'm possible. And it became
Yes.
a miracle that I'm even talking again. And I wrote a book about, I won't survive, I'll thrive through this life. Long story short on that, I started a television show to honor nonprofits and use my voice for the good of the community, using my voice to be the voice of nonprofits. So it's kind of like I like to kick obstacles in the head, saying, okay, I'm not supposed to talk. I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to be the voice for good news and good causes, and not just sit around and, not make it a bigger impact. And that's what I did. I took my idea of having a talk show, did 22 episodes in 1 year, interviewing nonprofits on location, showing the good that they're doing, being a part of the better news story of this world in our communities. And the 22nd one was one I did with Noah's Ark, hugging 1,000-pound bears and kissing monkeys and cougars, which was my dream. And I won an Emmy Award for that. So I won an Emmy, the highest award in my industry, for having a talk show when I'm not supposed to talk. And my message to women is, what can you do that you're thinking you can't, you shouldn't, you're too this or too that? But that does lead to the Live Your Legacy Summit, believe it or not, because I couldn't get funding and sponsors for television back in 2009 and 10 when the economy crashed.
Mm-hmm.
So my message to women especially is, okay, life happens, obstacles happen, the economy can crash. It's okay. Work around it. Be resourceful. And it just so happened I met a woman who introduced me to Tori Johnson, who's now on Good Morning America with Deals and Steals, and she's just amazing. But at the time, she was doing women's events, and I got a hold of her just to kind of talk to her about, what do I do next? I have an Emmy Award. There's no sponsors. There's no funding. I can't spend any more of my money to produce more, but there's more stories and honorees to be told and to help. And she said, why aren't you doing women's events? I'm like, oh, well, I've seen really bad women's events before. They look like a lot of work. A lot of people don't show up. I've seen, like, why would I want to do that to myself? They're always so frazzled and always losing money. And she goes, because they don't do them right. So I hired her as my coach because she said, I'll show you. And she did. And within 4 months, we created together the Live Your Legacy Summit, which came out of my book tour, because I always signed my book, Live Your Legacy. And that became the title. And we've been doing it since 2011. And we'll be going on to our 13th one. The only reason we didn't do one, not going to do one this year, is because my husband had prostate cancer last year. Kind of got us off schedule, but we will be getting back on schedule very soon.
Wow, that is an amazing testimony. And it reminds me, what was meant for evil, God uses it for good.
Amen.
Because you were not supposed to be able to use your voice.
Hello.
But you use your voice every single day to make a difference. And you won an Emmy Award for your voice, that voice that you weren't supposed to have. And so a prime example of what was meant for evil, God uses it for good.
And prime example of God saying, I'm possible. Because I love when things aren't supposed to work out or we're not supposed to do something. I was 48 years old. I wasn't a size 2. People think you're going to do something like that. You have to have a look. You have to be young. You don't have to be anything. Mm-hmm. You are exactly what God wants you to be right now. Today, you're not too young, you're not too old, you're not too anything. You are exactly where you need to be today, that God can use you for your purpose. So dig down and think about what you love to do, who you love to help, and get started. And don't worry about if this economy is going to crash again or what's happening around you or all the bad news. God has a purpose for you. And if you vow to yourself with him as your pilot that you will go over, under, around, or through, asking him for wisdom every step of the way, you will succeed in ways you never could have imagined or even prayed for.
Yes, I totally agree with everything you just said. Oh my goodness. Sometimes we don't realize in life that the things that we go through, they're often preparing us for the work that we have to do. So how do you think your life experiences have prepared you for the work that you're doing today?
Oh, I think they're always preparing for everything. I believe in my faith, and I believe that nothing is by accident, that we're going through whatever we're going through for a reason, even when it seems too much to bear. And Tamiko, you've been through something horrific that people will be thinking, why did you have to go through that? You're a kind, sweet person. What good could come from that? But God knows that we are the type of people that are going to pull this up and be even better and stronger because of it. Because now we get that mission inside us, like, watch me. You think you're going to, defeat me? I'm going to, like, my dad was murdered by the mafia when I was 15.
Wow.
I went through domestic violence and escaped that. I've had family in cancer in my family and what I've been through, but it's not the end. You'll always have obstacles. It's just, what are you going to do with those? I use them to collect my strength. So use your obstacles to collect your strength and your new resume for your new job and careers, because God's not done with you. There's so much more you don't even know you can do and achieve. So welcome tough times. We don't have to like them, but welcome them and just say, okay, Lord, here we go again. Give me strength, give me wisdom, show me the way, and show me what I need to learn so I can be better, stronger, and make a bigger difference in this world. It's like, all right, come on, let's go. Because we weren't meant for a small life. If you really feel you are listening to this and you feel like you have a bigger purpose, go for it. And then welcome tough times, because they're all part of it. I kind of think like we're kind of boring if we can't relate to anybody. I'm so glad I can relate to women that have been abused. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but since it happened, okay, I've joined the club. I love clubs. It's a sorority. Yeah. Cancer, it's a club. Let's do this together. And that's another key I love to teach and share. You're not in this alone. Really, we need to reach out, and bad times make us reach out and get help and make new friends. It's just something inside us says, I need help, I need support. And that happens during tough times, not so much during good times when we're kind of like celebrating on cloud nine. We don't think we need anybody. Give you a tough time, all of a sudden you need people, you need friends.
Yes, I love that you said you're not in this alone. I think that so many people are suffering in silence, but it's people like yourself, people like me, who can be transparent, who are not afraid to share their stories and the obstacles that we've gone through, to give those other people hope, because so many people are suffering in silence and they think that they're alone. And at the end of the day, the message is just what you said. You are not alone in this. There are other people who have gone through this and who have overcome and who have thrived. And those that are suffering in silence, they need our voices. So we have to continue to speak. We have to continue to use our voices.
Yes, we do. It's definitely, I love being in the sisterhood of support. And even if it's not a person's nature to share their story, maybe it's too personal, maybe it's something they never want to go public with, that's okay. Just sitting back in your car, in your home now, listening to podcasts like this, knowing you're not alone and getting strength and encouragement from this, even if nobody ever knows what you've been through, it's okay. Because you're right, people like you and I will continue to use the airwaves to let everyone know you're not alone. And let me show you, teach you, inspire you, give you hope, even if you never want to share a word that you've been through it too. That's okay. Not everybody's meant to have the microphone. There's many more people that are meant to listen and be inspired by it. So it helps your life in a very private, quiet way, but it makes all the difference in the world.
It really does. It really does. And just people get to draw inspiration from our stories. And I think that's one of the most important things, which leads me to something else. Oftentimes we go through so much stuff in life that can possibly take away our self-esteem or take away our confidence.
Oh,
so, dealing with domestic abuse, being a survivor of cancer and other life-changing circumstances. So one of the principles of living the empowered life is having ultimate self-confidence. So dealing with all the life adversities, what steps did you take to regain your confidence, or did you ever even lose your confidence?
Oh my, that is such a loaded question, because when I was young, And, I was brought up in New York City and I was doing soap operas. I had a mother that poured love and encouragement into me, saying, you can have it all. You can do anything you want. So when I got married to an abuser, and within like 7 years, he slowly took away my self-confidence, but I didn't know it was happening. So it's not like you make the decision to go get some. I didn't know it was gone. And it is amazing how quickly somebody that's that close to you in your life can take it away. But when I found it again was when I started to earn my own money. And money gave me choices, which gave me the choice to leave. So when I got into a direct selling company. I started making money while I was being abused. I won a car, had money in the bank. And it was amazing that one day when he came home and screaming and yelling and doing his thing, I built up the courage to say, wait a minute, you will never get better. No matter how much money I make, whatever I do, you're not going to become a nice person. You need to leave. You need to get out. I'm not living this life. But it was experiencing success, money in the bank, earning that. I think earning money gives you empowerment because it does empower you for choices. You can choose your own doctors. You can choose the schools your kids go to. Nothing wrong with it. And it really gave me a choice that I don't need to stay here. He doesn't have to pay my bills. I'm an independent woman now. Again, you took it away, didn't realize it, but now, I got it back. Wake up call. So that really made a difference. So I encourage women, do your hobbies, keep your life, do things you love to do. That builds self-esteem. But many times you don't even know it's been taken away or that it's not there. So get out there and live. Do things you love to do and you were called to do and watch it grow. Then you'll look back and say, wow, look at me now. I just said no to somebody. I wouldn't normally do that. But I really had that self-confidence that wasn't going to take me where I wanted to go. And I was able to say no and not feel bad about it. That's kind of having that girl power saying, I know where I'm going. I know who I want to help. And you can say no with confidence to things that could derail you or not good for you or not empowering you back.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes to everything that you said, and building confidence and living your legacy and working on your legacy. You know what I mean? When I think about you, I always think about live your legacy and having more confidence. I believe that whenever we are in a period of action, when we're doing things, when we are achieving our goals, when we're in action doing things, that's when we're at our best. That's when we feel happy. And that's when our confidence is increased. So acknowledging our uniqueness and knowing that we're not like everybody else, but we're unique for a reason, and believing in yourself and knowing that you're one of a kind is definitely another way that you can build your confidence.
Absolutely. Don't let anybody, and they do. I mean, you and I have fallen into the trap of letting somebody else dictate to us, what our opinions can be and what we can do and what's proper. We need to be our own self. And if you haven't done it in a while and you just do one thing from now on that you truly enjoy doing for you, whether it's swimming, reading a good book, taking up tennis, sailing, doesn't matter what it is, or going back to work or starting a new career, whatever it is, do something for you because that will build happiness, joy, and self-confidence because you'll be utilizing the talents God's given you. And when you do that, you're walking in more peace and joy. And then when tough times come, and they will, you have the self-confidence and the empowerment to overtake them, go over, under, around, and through them. And you have a support team already around you because you're enjoying your life with others that have your back when you need it. And you'll get through whatever life brings you.
You will, absolutely will. Which brings me to something else. So we've talked about quite a few things. We talked about purpose and being the voice for other people and self-confidence. So the other thing I had a question about for you is balance. So there are so many things that's going on in our lives. And for you, you're an author, a speaker, TV personality. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're a friend. You're the founder of the Live Your Legacy Summit. You know what I mean? So having so many things on your plate, how do you balance?
Well, Tamiko, before we got on the air, you said something that is really, really important. And we need to have time management. We're not always going to be in balance. When you're getting ready for big things, like right now, I'm getting ready for a TEDx talk. Life isn't in balance. My family knows, okay, crunch time. I have to be more on point for that because that's such a big thing on my bucket list. But we're a team together. So they know dinner's not going to be home cooked and on the table every night from now until the event date. And it's okay because we're in this journey together. So I like to think of balance being fluid, being balanced for today, balanced for this month. And if you and your family are okay with where you are and everybody has a role to play. This month might be more mom's doing this. We've got to support her. Next month, it might be one of my daughters doing something and we're all on board supporting her doing her thing. Next one, it might be my husband. When he had cancer, we all rallied to him. Everything else got put on the back burner. So I think it's that rotating. Balance isn't a one time, here's my life, here's my schedule. Don't ever defer from it. It's having that flexibility to stay in balance with purpose and having those around you be on board with you. That way, nobody's sitting in the background saying, oh my God, there she goes again. She's not home for dinner or blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh no, she's out. She's doing this because this is part of our family goal. This is getting us to our united front. It's not a divided family. It's a united family.
I love that. A united family, not a divided family. That's good. That's a lot of great information. And time management is so key to making sure, and I don't even know if there's a such thing as balance, but just having certain steps in place that actually work for you. And for me, it's all about time management. And then sometimes we think things are important, but it's not a priority. So
exactly. You have
prioritizing things in my life because someone
Absolutely.
else might be like, this is important to me. And I'm like, oh, that's not on my priority list. So
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of talks out there about how to say no. And if that's a problem, if you're just saying yes to everything and you end up having an overloaded schedule, that's when a good time. Get on the YouTube, watch some videos on how to say no, because it is important and vital. And no is a complete sentence when you know where you're going. And if it doesn't serve your purpose, or if it takes you away from your family, takes you away from what you're focusing on, then you need to say no to things and not feel guilty for it. You're like, I know when it's right to give and serve my community and my nonprofits, but I can't do it for every single nonprofit that I want to do it for every single day. So I have that life balance to know this is the ones I can work with this month or this quarter or this year. And then the others have to say, I can't do it now, but please come back to me next quarter or next year. And that's okay, because I can't say yes to everyone and live any kind of life or legacy or family.
absolutely. And I love that you said if it doesn't serve your purpose, then it's okay to say no.
You have to know your purpose.
Yes.
Really know what your purpose is and seek that out. And that's a daily thing too. Our purpose this year might be different than where it's going to be next year. Again, it's okay to grow, evolve, and change, but you have to have a purpose every day so you know what to say yes to and what to say no to. It's kind of like if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. You have to stand for what you want to live, where you want to go, so you're not falling all over the place saying yes to everybody else's dreams and goals.
Absolutely. That's going to stick with me. If it doesn't serve your purpose, it's okay to say no. And the other thing for me is if something doesn't bring me peace. So if I have a pressing issue, the answer to anything is it's peace is my priority. So if it's something that doesn't sit well with my spirit and it doesn't bring me peace, I've learned to say no. Whereas in the past, I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I said yes to everything, whether it resonated with me or not, because I didn't want people to be upset with me.
Yep.
But I've gotten okay with saying, you know what, that doesn't sit well with me. I don't think that's a good fit. I've learned how to say no, not in a rude way, but unapologetically.
Yeah, and like I said, when I coaching my clients, I tell them you can say no to something and say, I can't do that this quarter. Come back to me next quarter, or like I said, down the road. A no isn't a no forever. Leave me alone. I don't like you. It's I'm sorry, I can't fit that in now. A lot of people come to me for sponsorships, and you have to allocate how much you can do in sponsorships or how much I can do for free, and then once you've reached that that limit, you have to say, oh, I'm at my limit for this month or this quarter, but do you catch me for the next one so I can get you on the list? So no isn't just cutting people off at the knees. It's saying it's not going to work right now, but if it's something you really do want to do and fit into your schedule, let them know that. Say, come back to me. And then if they're smart, they will follow up if you've told them to. Or a plain no, like, no, this isn't in line with what I can do. I can't best serve you in this area, but thank you for thinking of me. And then don't leave it open for them to come back and keep trying to knock on a door that you'll never open. Mm-hmm. So be honest with people, but there's a time where it's a no, not right now. Time it's a no, that's not right for me. I can't help you. I'm not the best person for this. And there's a time when you just have to say, no, it's just a no. Can't do it.
That's it. It's okay to say no. Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned something about your coaching clients. Tell us about your coaching. What areas do you coach in?
Well, I've coached in a lot of different areas over the years. I've taken on private clients on teaching them business success. I've done time management, money management, sales, because I've been in sales like all my life. But now I've really dedicated myself when I do coach, and I'm starting a new online coaching program. And I'm teaching business owners and nonprofits how to host their own successful events, mainly workshops and seminars, not something like so big where they have to have speakers and vendors, but something where they become the expert in their industry. And I show them how to create and design their own stages, their own workshop, where their potential clients and customers come to them, and they can do this once a month or once a quarter and earn an extra 6 figures a year just by having that on the side, and how easier it is to bring new customers into your customer base when they get to know, like, and trust you on a bigger, more intimate level, and you can share your knowledge with them at an event. And we also can do that on a webinar, but I'm really teaching them how to do a live event in their community once a month to really draw in and grow their customer base that way. And it's working wonderful. They're just loving it. It's called Sold Out Event Masterminds.
Well, Aurea, I want to have a sold out event, and I want to make an extra 6 figures a year. So when is this next class coming up? And how can we register?
Doing that in May. Doing it in May. And I will keep you posted. You're on my newsletter, so you'll find out about it.
Okay, so for those that are listening to the podcast, how can they find out about this class?
They can follow me 2 places, Aurea McGarry Productions on Instagram and on Facebook. Those are the 2 places I mainly will put out the flyers and announcements, where I am, what I'm doing, what my TEDx Talk is, all that good stuff. Aurea McGarry Productions, Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, and so for those of you who are listening to this, Aurea knows how to put on an event. I've been to her events. They're phenomenal. They sell out. Her stage presence is amazing. So this is definitely something that you want to think about attending if you are one of those people who have a business and you do events and things of that nature. I've seen firsthand how amazing her events are. And so make sure you follow her. So Aurea, there's something else that you have coming up that I'm so excited about, and that's your TEDx Talk. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I'm so excited. I hope you all have your bucket list. And this was something that was just kind of penciled in on my bucket list. I really never gave it a lot of thought because I haven't had time. But a few years ago, this wonderful woman came to one of my Live Your Legacy summits, actually in Florida. It was several years ago. And you never know who's watching you and following you, because there's people that will never, kind of engage with you, but when they need to reach out to you, if they have an opportunity for you, they're going to do that. And this woman did. She reached out to me, and I was like, oh, wow, I know you. Hey, how you doing? And she said, I'm curating a TEDx Talk in your area, because she used to be here. And she said, I think you'd be perfect. Our theme is Seeding Greatness. And it's going to be in Dupree Park, which is not far from me. It's in Woodstock. She goes, I really think you need to submit yourself as a potential speaker for this TEDx. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? So it was something I've always wanted to do, but never had a moment to really find out or seek it out to find out how you do submit yourself for a TEDx Talk. But I watched them. My daughters even watch them. I mean, everybody watches them. They're so fantastic. And they're not inspirational speeches. They're all about having a new thought idea. So it's very different than anything I've ever done before. So I ended up submitting, did everything I was supposed to do, and got selected. And then I'm a big believer. I practice what I preach. Don't try anything new, like hosting your own event or doing something for the first time without the proper coach. Just like I hired a coach to show me how to do a successful event, and it's been a success ever since, I hired a TEDx coach, one who specializes in that. And we're working very closely together to make this a resounding success because it'll be up on YouTube for eternity, good or bad. So I want to make sure it's the best it can be. So I'm a big believer in having a coach at all times for different areas of your life. I'm not just a coach, I do get coached. So I'm very excited.
And
I think we're even sold out. I mean, it sells out pretty quick.
Oh, is it sold out already? Wow.
Well, we might have like 5 tickets left. So go on today to TEDx Dupree Park. Just Google it and try to get a ticket there. And you can, if there's a couple left, you can get them.
Yeah, I definitely have to support you in this one. I'm extremely proud of you.
Great networking too.
You had a TEDx coach because sometimes I think people don't understand the value in having a coach. Even if you are a coach, coaches need coaches.
Well, you know, Tony Robbins has 5 coaches at all times, and you'd think he's already arrived, but no, there's always something else to learn. There's always somebody you need to have the wing beneath your wings. Always need a cheerleader. Always need somebody keeping you on task or teaching you something new. I'll never stop learning. School is never out for the student. You know, we just never arrive. I mean, the person says, I don't need to learn anything else. You know, may as well just crawl into a hole and say, I'm done, because we're always learning something new. I always want to learn something new, and I'm not an expert at everything. I never will be, nor do I want to be.
Right. And we should always try to perfect our craft. So I'm a huge believer in mentorship, coaching, as well as accountability partner. So those are the 3 things I try to make sure that I had at all times.
And, you know, there's a time and a place where you spend small because you don't need to spend big. And there's other times when you need to really make an investment. When I, hired Tori Johnson, I made an investment. When I hired Haley Foster, who's my TEDx specialist coach, I made an investment. It matters, like when you're looking for a specialist, if you have cancer, you're making an investment in the best doctors. And there's other times when you just need, a little boost, a little help, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. You can go to SCORE and get some free mentorship, score.org, and get free mentors and free advice. It's all relative to what you need right now, and balance it that way.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So before we close out, I've learned a lot from you. Every time we talk, I learn something. I take something positive away from our conversation. But before we close out, 2 things. The first thing is, do you have any other events, any other initiatives coming up that you would like for us to support?
Just on Instagram under Aurea McGarry Productions, because I'm about to launch a whole new Instagram look, a whole new professional promoting what I do, the services that I have, the events that will be coming up. We'll be setting the date for the next Live Your Legacy Summit coming up in the next few weeks. So I would love support on my Instagram, and I'll be right back at you. I will engage with you. I love comments and good thought-provoking ideas and suggestions, and just having conversation on Instagram is kind of the wave of what's happening in the future now. People are really starting to make a difference and getting their voice out on Instagram. So I would love that, and I'll be right there and follow everybody back and engage on theirs as well.
Awesome. So we'll make sure everyone is following you. And then one last thing before we close out, can you please share I know you've already shared a lot of wealth of information, but can you share a final thought or a charge for the audience?
My final, I would say a charge would be never lose hope. You are, like I said, exactly what you need today to get up right now after listening to this podcast and make that one step forward, something you've always wanted to do, something you're thinking that you should be doing, or it's inside you that you think you might be able to do this. I just charge you to take action. And believe in yourself. Believe God is big enough to take you where you want to go. If He's put that into your heart and into the desires that you have, then He's equipped you to give that a try and see where it takes you. It may take you down a completely different road than you were thinking, but I bet you it's going to be better than you ever thought. I never thought stepping out to be the voice for nonprofits would lead me to my little girl dream of having an Emmy Award. But that was I like to say God's wink saying, I got you. I'm here for you. You can do this. Keep living every day. Don't stop.
Amazing. So she said, never lose hope, believe in yourself, and take action. Those are my 3 takeaways. Never lose hope, believe in yourself, and take action. Aurea, thank you so much for sharing with us today. Again, I took away lots of great inspirational information, and I'm looking forward to supporting you in all of your upcoming initiatives. So thank you so much again.
Tamika, thank you. Thank you for all you do. And I got you too. Anytime, any place. I love you, and I'm your biggest fan.
I hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Living the Empowered Life with my inspiring guest, Aurea McGarry. I truly hope that you were able to draw some motivation and inspiration from our conversation today as you continue on your journey of living an empowered life. And remember, legacy is not about leaving something for people. It's about leaving something in people. So ladies, listen. It's time to discover and live your life purpose. It's time to value yourself. It's time to set goals that are going to move you forward in life. It's time to rebuild your confidence. It's time to fearlessly walk in your authentic power. And ladies, it's time to live the empowered life.